welcome back to Creepin' It Colorful. It's Sinister Saturday. We got a late start today. So I will be coloring out of the book Alan Robert, The Beauty of Horror Tarot Card Book, and I'm going to be doing the full for April Fool's Day. I'm going to hand the mic over to Mark, and he's going to do the tale for the night.
Alrighty, James A. Garfield. James who? 20th President of the United States. Born Orange, Ohio, November 19, 1831, and died Elburn, New Jersey, September 19, 1881, only 49 years old. So who the heck was President James Garfield? He's barely mentioned in history books. We don't celebrate his birthday. There's no money with his face on it. The few schools named Garfield are not named after the famous cartoon cat, but after this guy. Garfield was the 20th President of the United States for only 4 months before some nut job shot him. And it was easy, too, because Garfield had no bodyguards. Abraham Lincoln had been assassinated 16 years before, and still nobody thought the presidents needed protection. Today, a president can't go anywhere without Secret Service protection, but not back then. Garfield was a sitting duck for anyone with a chip on his shoulder and a screw loose. In 1881, outlaws like Jesse James and Billy the Kid were holding up trains and shooting people. Local law was enforced with gunfights in the center of town, and a boy of 15 could join a posse to hunt down a suspected criminal. Almost a quarter of all U.S. currency was counterfeit. The Secret Service had been created by the Treasury to protect the money, but not people. Policemen protected the White House and its grounds, but not the president. Anybody could walk into the White House, and if the president wasn't there, no problem. You could find out when he would be back. His schedule was printed in daily newspapers. On July 2nd, 1881, President Garfield and his Secretary of State, James G. Blaine, went to the train station. Charles J. Gitu, a crazy guy with a gun who apparently read the daily newspapers, was waiting there. Because no one protected the president, Gitu was able to walk right behind Garfield and shoot him twice with his snub-nosed .44 caliber British Bulldog revolver. One bullet nicked Garfield's arm and the other hit him in the back. Garfield went down. Dialing 911 in an emergency was about 90 years down the road, and considering that there were only a couple of phones in Washington at the time, one at the White House and one at the Treasury, calling for help meant Mr. Blaine screaming at the top of his lungs. Garfield was bleeding all over the place, but he was still alive. A mattress was dragged over for him to lie on, and women cradled his head in her lap. A woman cradled his head in her lap. A doctor arrived and gave Garfield a shot of brandy to lessen the pain when he examined the bullet hole by sticking his finger in it. Without x-rays, which weren't discovered for another 14 years, sticking a finger in the bullet hole was the only way to find a bullet, and Garfield's doctor didn't wash his hands or wear gloves. Pretty soon, 10 doctors were at the station taking turns poking their unwashed fingers into the hole of Garfield's back. The bullet was inside Garfield's body, but not one of them could find it. Bullet probes were jammed into the bullet hole to try to dig out the slug. After several tries and plenty of wrong turns, the doctors had missed the bullet path completely and reamed a whole new 12-inch long path in Garfield's back. They still couldn't find the bullet, but by then millions of microscopic germs had been deposited inside Garfield's body. Since there was no trauma centers at hospitals back then, Garfield was taken in a horse-drawn ambulance to the White House. He was given a glass of champagne and a shot of morphine for the pain. He wasn't expected to live through the night. Garfield's legs went numb, he vomited every 30 minutes, and the bed got soaked with blood, but he was still alive the next morning. And that was day one and what became an 8-day hunt for the lead bullet in Garfield's back. The White House was swamped with letters about how to find the bullet. People suggested hanging him up by his feet so the bullet could fall out, or sucking it out with a pump. Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, made a contraption that would send a noise through his telephone receiver when it passed over the metal bullet. But Bell didn't realize that Garfield was lying on top of another recent invention, a metal coil spring mattress. So over and over, Bell's device gave a false reading. A screen was set up around Garfield's bed. For unknown reasons, instead of experienced medical nurses, the wives of cabinet members rotated on a 24-hour schedule, attending to Garfield's needs. His doctors restricted visitors, including the vice president and Garfield's own family. It wasn't long before the bullet hole got infected. Doctors thought pus was a sign of healing, not infection. Garfield's doctors cut into his wound to make the opening larger so that twice a day they could stick in a rubber hose and drain out the pus. Besides pus, they dug out fabric from his shirt and pieces of his rib. Weeks went by and there was still no bullet, and Garfield was wasting away. He had high fevers, he threw up everything he ate, and he was delirious. 44 days into Garfield's ordeal, his doctors decided not to give him any more food to eat. They only gave him food rectally. The enemas were made of eggs, beef extract, and whiskey. His doctors were starving him to death. Garfield's whole body became infected. His position was adjusted 100 times a day so he wouldn't lean on any one spot too long. An infected parotoid gland by his right ear made his eye and cheek so swollen the whole side of his face was paralyzed. Garfield asked to be taken to the New Jersey shore in order to make the trip as easily as possible for him. 3,200 feet of train tracks were added so the train could travel right up to the door of the beach house. On the journey there, Garfield's train unexpectedly stopped a few hundred yards shy of the house. People nearby gathered behind the train car and pushed it the rest of the way to his front door. 2 weeks later, on September 19, 1881, less than 3 months after Garfield was shot, he died. Unfortunately, the infected wound, blood poisoning, and a heart attack did him in. He had lost 100 pounds in 3 months. The autopsy showed that the bullet was nowhere near where his doctors thought it was. The bullet never touched any vital organs. Garfield would have lived if the doctors had kept their dirty hands off of him. 20 years later, in 1901, President McKinley was assassinated. There was still no Secret Service to protect the president. Many years after the assassination of President Lincoln, Garfield, and McKinley, Congress legalized the use of federal funds for the protection of the person of President of the United States. In 1907, 2 agents were officially assigned full-time to protect Theodore Roosevelt. Today, there are approximately 3,200 special agents assigned to protect the president. vice president and their families, former presidents, and visiting heads in foreign states, among several others. Footnotes. Robert Todd Lincoln. 4 American presidents have been assassinated. Abraham Lincoln's son Robert Todd Lincoln was near 3 of the incidents. In 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater. Robert rushed to the theater and was at his father's bedside when he died. In 1881, President James A. Garfield was shot in Washington, D.C. train station. Robert was the Secretary of War at the time and was accompanying the president on his trip. Robert rushed to Garfield's side after he was shot. In 1901, President William McKinley was shot at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. Robert had been invited to join the president in Buffalo, and he happened to arrive just after the president was shot. Boy, I wouldn't want that Robert fellow around me. Secret Service timeline. 1865 to 1997. 1865, first created to fight counterfeiters. Oh, Secret Service timelines. 1894, informal protection of President Cleveland. 1902, assumed full protection of President Theodore Roosevelt, approved by Congress in 1907. 1908, protection of the president-elect. 1917, protection of president's immediate family. And 1962, protection of vice presidents. 1965, protection of former presidents and spouses for life. 1997, presidents elected after January 1997 have protection for only 10 years after leaving office. Medical advances too late for Garfield. Antisepsis, 1865. Garfield's doctors didn't try to stop the spread of germs through cleanliness. The practice wasn't widely adopted until the late 1880s. Rubber gloves, 1890. First time used in an operating room, not for the patient's sake, but to protect a nurse with skin allergies. X-rays, 1895. Blood transfusions, 1905. Antibiotics, 1939. Presidential assassins. Lincoln was John Wilkes Booth. Garfield was Charles J. Gutiérrez. McKinley was Leon Casalagos. And Kennedy, Lee Harvey Oswald. ? That's it.
Okie dokie. You're going to have to pardon my humor. Now, I've heard of talking out your ass, but not eating out your ass, okay? Because that just did not make sense with, like, the smorgasbord enemas that this guy was getting. It just boggles my mind. It just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I guess back then they just did what they thought would work, and yeah, that president had a snowball's chance in you know where of pulling through with all that chaos. But thankfully, we learn from our mistakes, and at least somewhat, and policies change, and now we can be assured that we won't be taking a scrambled egg enema. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't even. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. It's just not making. absolutely any sense to me why that was even an option. But like I said, that was way back in the day. They were probably frantic trying to figure out what they should do, and anything sounded good at the time. And to find out later that he probably would have survived if they would have just washed their hands.
Alive for 3 months after that.
Yeah, but that's, Mark said he was alive for 3 months after that. And I'm thinking to myself, that had to have been the worst 3 months. I just can't understand. And like I said, this book is kind of amazing because you learn all kinds of things that you never would have known had it not been for the facts that this person who wrote this book found. I mean, like, who would have thunk all that stuff? But hey, I'm glad I got the book. And I had it sitting on the shelf, and I thought, well, what the heck? Let's break this out and let's see what this is all about. And man, is it interesting.
Yeah, every time we do a story, I learn something.
So I hope it is kind of entertaining and kind of disgusting. Now, Mark doesn't really read those stories ahead of time. He doesn't have much notice. He just picks one out and goes with it. So the blood, guts, and gore that usually are in these stories can still find a way to gross you out. And it takes a lot to gross me out. But let me tell you what, that one grossed me out. Just the thought process of the crap that he went through. Pardon the pun. But yeah, that's just disgusting. Anyway, so here I am. Decided that I was going to go with gel pens for this picture, and I only got a few more things to do on it. And I'm really going through all my different color gel pens. I didn't realize I had that many different colors, but I'm glad I do because I really needed to get a variety here. So if they want to work, that's what you hear. If you heard that every now and then, that's me trying to get my gel pen to recharge, because I don't use them all the time. So yeah, some of these are just, they've been laying here, and I need to really get some kind of system. How do you guys store your gel pens? Because I need a different method, because these suckers sometimes, like this one, I bring it out here and it just does not want to stay running, and I don't have the patience. Although, you know what? Let me just show you some stupidity on my part. There's no more ink in there, so I ain't gonna get any more out of there. Yeah, that was my dumbness. Well, let me see if I can find another color similar to that one, and I guess I can use this one. It's not quite the same color, but it'll do. And there's ink in there. I see some. So yeah, we're gonna go with this one, and it's flowing a lot better. But anyway, we traveled into Reading area today, and I was able to stop in at Five Below, and so I got glitter markers and glitter watercolors. So I will be doing a video where I swatch them out and introduce them. I did not get any books because I had the one book that is my favorite horror book, the glow in the dark one, and I didn't get any other books, but they had Dreamscape or something like that. I can't remember what the heck the name of it is, and I can't even remember who the illustrator was. But anyway, they had that one there, and I've seen a lot of people using that book, but Dreamscape kind of comes to mind. I didn't get that one either. I have plenty here that I need to color with, so I need to get that done before I can validate getting any more. But I did get glitter markers, which were only $4, and then the pearlescent glitter watercolors, which were $5. I just said, you know what, I can splurge every now and then, but this is the now, and now it's going to be a long time for the then. So anyway, this is my first actual page that I am attempting in April, and we're already on the 4th day, and that's how bad I'm slacking. But I was doing a few other things and busy with a few other things, so I know, excuses, but that's just it. You know, you can do stuff and plan stuff, but you can't always get done what you need to get done. Even though you say you're going to, it doesn't always happen that way. Life happens, and then what? You know, then you're stuck. Then you're...
In Garfield's case, you can't always win in the end.
Oh gosh darn it. I'm sorry about that, folks. That was really bad, that what he said. I don't know if you could have heard what he said, but just in case you did, I apologize now. These gel pens that I'm using now, I actually got these at Ollie's, and they all came together. They have tons of, look, I don't know. Let me just show you my tray. The browns and the greens and the cream colors. Those are all these that came in, plus all these I have that are over here came in, except for the black one, be it this one and this one. They all came together, and now you know what I just did. I don't know which freaking. Okay, I think it was this one. I put my pen down in the tray, and I'm like, oh crap. I don't know if that was, I don't even think this was the right one, but it'll work. But there's so many different shades of green and brown and tan, and that's what we like, because we don't have a lot of those different colors. And it was, I think, I can't remember if it was 12 or 24 for $5. So, and they're good. I mean, they're not generic in any means, except for when I use them all, and then I try to say that they're bad, and it's because I don't know enough to check the barrel to see if there's any kind of, you know, like this one's pretty full, but you know, like here's a silver one. This is what I was actually looking for, but I'm going to use this here. They work well, and I'm not complaining about these one bit. I'd get them again. In fact, Mark has a set, and I have a set, because he uses these a lot in his coloring. Now all we have is the, let me see if this one's, yep. All we have is the background here. What I'm not understanding is why the bats are out during the day. But who am I to judge, right? They can fly whenever they want to. But, and I'm just going to use this blue. I think this blue might have been in with that set too. No, I think they were all browns and grays. This is pretty nice. This is a pretty nice one too. I don't have the money or means to get the Languo, I think they are. Although those are my far off distant wish list item. Someday, some way. And always at like Five Below and stuff, they always have stuff that are similar. I saw a kid in there, and he was very young, but he was in there, and it was like pardon the pun again, a kid in a candy store for him. I mean, he was like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I don't know who he was talking to. I don't know. I don't think he was talking to me. But he was saying, oh my gosh, look at this. And look at this one, look at this one. And I'm pretty sure he had somebody on the phone with him. But he was excited. He was like, and this one in the cart, that one in the cart. He was having a fun time there. It's good to see young kids like that. Here we go. Good kids, young kids like that get excited. Here I am saying that these are good. This one isn't from Ollie's though. I don't even know.
Warm cup of water and just dipped it in there.
Oh, well, every now and then. See, now it's running good. I don't know. It's like it gets something clogs the end of them every now and then. And I don't know that this one's glitter. This one looks like a metallic marker, so that's not even an excuse for it to say, hey, oh well, you know, it's glitter. The glitter got stuck in the end, and nope. This is just like a metallic. Still pretty nice. And sometimes the things, like I always say, sometimes the things I get from Temu aren't as bad as people are saying. And I often say, when you order stuff from Temu, you have to read the description. Because if you don't, you may just, you know, you're just going to have to suck up whatever comes in the mail. Because I've done it myself, ordering towels. I crochet kitchen towels, and I've ordered towels not thinking, and I look, and I usually get ones that have, they're double-sided with the design on one side and design on the other side, so I can cut them in half and make 2 towels out of it. Well, sometimes if you don't watch and look at the description, the print that they have is enlarged, and it covers the whole size of a big kitchen towel. So yeah, I've had that happen to me. But I must say, when I say to them I want to return it, and I say I ordered the wrong thing, they still let me keep it and send me a replacement. So I don't know where some of these people are really bashing Temu, but they must do it on purpose just for something to videotape. Because I've never had problems like that. Usually I am able to get a refund just like Amazon does sometimes, where in fact, it'll say it in there, you're allowed one free return and per order. So if there's something in your order that isn't what you thought it was going to be or is messed up, they will either replace it. Can you guys even see me? Oh my God, I'm coloring all this time and you guys didn't even see me. You're probably screaming at me. Okay. I forget that I have you guys on close up, so I think you can see everything. I am so sorry for that. And I'm ranting and raving. But yeah, you can just give Temu a try. They're not as bad as what people say. And sometimes, like I said, when there is a problem, it may be because the description hasn't been read right. They give you measurements and everything, and they give you pictures. So I'm not quite sure what some of the issues are, but they're worth a chance. I mean, this stuff is not expensive. The only problem I have right now is if you look at and you go to order stuff and you order from the local, you will be paying a $2.99 shipping. If you can get the stuff that comes directly from their warehouse, that stuff does not have a shipping charge. So you must look at that also if you don't want to pay the extra shipping. And sometimes if you peruse through it a little bit, you end up finding what you want and it's coming from their warehouse. You get lucky. But sometimes you just have to suck it up and pay the $2.99 and get it from a local. Now here's the catch. If it's a local one, you'll get it faster than if it comes from the warehouse. So give or take, whatever you feel that you would be more comfortable with, paying the $2.99 and getting it quicker, or waiting and waiting and waiting for it to show. They do give you tracking, they do give you alerts, they tell you when. Like, I just had an order of towels that I was supposed to get, and somehow, some way, it got lost. Because it was from a local person, and they said that they hadn't gotten tracking updates, so they were thinking it must have gotten lost. And then you can either get a monetary refund or a credit. I put it on credit because I need to get other towels. I just haven't gotten in there to reorder them. But that's another thing they do. If they figure out that something's gone awry with the communication with the seller and the tracking, they will alert you and tell you, so that you're not sitting around waiting for that package to show up that's never going to show up. And if the package does show up, well, then you get to keep it. So there's that. I got the credit, so if this package suddenly shows up, and if the package doesn't show up in the time frame that they say, and it comes later, you get a $5 credit too on top of that. So yeah, there's that. There's all kinds of little loopholes and stuff to think about. And we're almost done with this. I was just in a gel pen mood, so I thought, what the heck. I should have used the glitter markers that I got from Five Below, but I want to wait until I swatch them out first, and then we'll take that route. And there you have it. I don't know not what this O is, but I'm gonna color that in. There we go. All finished. He's all finished. The Fool is finished. There we go. And let's do the doggy's eyes too while we're at it. There we go. All done. The Fool. I don't know what color I'm going to go down here with, but I'll think about that later. I might go with gold if I can find a good gold one. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the fun-filled facts about, what was his name?
President
Garfield?
Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield, not the cat. The president. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the content. Subscribe if you haven't. And comment if you'd like to. I read the comments as much as I can. And stay happy, stay healthy, stay creative, stay colorful, stay you, stay creepy. Why not? Doesn't have to just be at Halloween. And stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.